I'm really happy to have Gaba from the Tor project kick us off today. I've seen her speak and spoken with her myself several times, and she's doing very interesting work, which I can't wait to hear about. Gaba, take it away.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, good morning. I'm so happy that there's so many people here, and like all the brave people that arrive at 9 a.m. on Sunday. This is awesome. So I'm going to do mostly like an overview of first a little what is Tor. How many people here know what is Tor or what trust? Okay, decentralized trust networks are perfect. Awesome. I'm still going to do some overview for the people that do not know what we are doing, what we have been doing, and I'm also going to talk a little about what our plans are for the next year, 2 years. So first, and then questions, of course, questions or comments in the end. And for the people that stay the whole talk, I have stickers here, so you can get the stickers at the end. Okay, so who am I? My background is as a software engineer for the last 20 years, but in the last 2 years I have been doing more management of projects. So I'm working with the Tor project since last year as a project manager. I manage the projects related to anti-censorship, to the core team, and to metrics. That means recollecting and displaying all the data that we get from the network. I'm a free software developer, facilitator, organizer. I also participate in other collectives and open source projects like Sister Server and Infrared Organizer, that is a network of autonomous infrastructure. That's who I am. So what is Tor? So as many of you may know, Tor is open source software. We have an ecosystem of tools and software that run the network and allow people to be able to connect to the network in one way or the other. Tor is a way to browse or connect to the internet anonymously. It's like a choice for privacy. Tor is also a community of researchers, developers, users, service operators. It's like a big community of people doing or interacting with Tor in different ways. And we are also a non-profit organization that is the one who nurtures this network, that works on like the challenges around anti-censorship, the challenges about performance in the network. We do trainings. We nurture the community of service providers. And as I put here, we advocate for infrastructure that allow people to use the internet anonymously. So the Tor ecosystem. Let me see if I can get this because it's kind of weird. Okay. Okay. Tor ecosystem. There's like different tools around the Tor, and I'm going to talk a little more about these for the people that may not know about how we're working. We have like software that that is the one who is running the different nodes to run the network. We have different tools that are able people to connect to the network. We have other tools for like sharing documents. We also, part of our community is Tails, that is an operating system to connect to Tor and to work anonymously. We have Uni, that is one of our projects for measuring censorship around the world. We have the Library Freedom Project that try to use libraries around the US to connect to Tor and to use the libraries as nodes, and also to teach librarians and people in the community about what we are doing. And we have a lot of other software that is using Tor right now. So Tor is the network that has like around 6,000 and 7,000 volunteers nodes right now. We need more, and I'm going to talk a little about that too. We have between 2 and 8 million monthly active users. You can see a lot of information in our page in metrics about where people are connecting through, in how many users we have in different places. There's a lot of metrics about that, and also about the servers and stuff like that. So Tor allows anyone to use the internet while hiding the IP address. We said that like we protect metadata. No, we don't only encrypt the information, encrypt the content, but also hide the information on who you're talking with, which website you're connecting to. We have Tor browser that is based right now on Firefox, that has different specific protections to be able to connect to the internet. And different cases are like censorship incubation, defense against surveillance, and private browsing. And something about that, yes, depends on, because there's different communities that connect to Tor. People around the world that are subject to censorship, they use it for circumventing censorship. And they may be connecting to Facebook, for example, through Tor to be able to access in places where maybe censored, no? But also, like, for other people, it could be just about privacy, no? Different people, or, yeah, look at how they use Tor in different ways. So the Tor network is, so we have different servers that run Tor, and when people connect to the network is giving them 3 different nodes. So the Tor client, what it does is encrypt with 3 layers. It has 3 layers of encryption for the connection, and then you go through these 3 different nodes. So the entry guard knows who you are, but the middle relay do not know, and the exit relay do not know. And the exit relay doesn't know who you are, but knows where you are going to. So we are protecting the information about which website you are visiting to, and also protecting, because the threat model here is like, there's many people that could be like your service provider or the government that may be trying to see what website you're visiting or who you're talking to. So this network, what we are doing is distributing trust between the different nodes to be able to, for you to be, for the destination, for the website to not know who you are, and for, yeah. Okay, the difference between, so, and the other thing I want to talk, yeah, is the stuff about encryption, no? Inside the network on the Tor client, encrypt all the content, and this, when it leaves the network, the content could be not encrypted by Tor, for sure. The difference with a VPN is that with a VPN, you have a provider that you trust that provider, the provider of the VPN, all your information, no? So if that provider is compromised one way or the other, they will have all the information of who is connecting to where. With Tor, we distribute that trust, so nobody in the node, in the network, I'm sorry, nobody in the network will know exactly, or will have all the information on who is connecting to who. Nobody will know that, no? And that's the difference with the VPN, no? So, yes, and the other thing is that the safety comes from diversity, no? So as many, when we have more nodes in the network, it will be better for everybody using Tor network, as it will be harder to match who is connecting to the network, to where people are connecting to, you know. And the other thing that also people sometimes ask is about transparency, you know. We believe that privacy should be a choice, but for building trust in what we are doing in the community we need transparency. So we have everything in the open. We have protocols, specifications, software. Everything we do is in the open. Who is working at Tor is in the open too. But we believe that it should not be forced, but it should be an option. Onion services. How many people know what onion services are? How many people know what is the dark web? Okay, yes. Okay, because yeah, there's like we are trying one of the things we are trying is to demystify the dark web. No, this idea that actually the amount of onion service, the hidden services that we have, that very small. There's no iceberg under this ocean. That's the media image usually about the dark web. So what we have is the onion services. These are like services inside the Tor network that allow you to connect without leaving the Tor network. So everything is encrypted by Tor and allow the services to be able to have anonymous servers. No. It's usually a hash.onion, the domain, and that's what the dark web is. Just onion services. There's a special domain .onion, and it's self-authenticated, so we bypass all certification authorities. Keep traffic inside the Tor network, and it's end-to-end encrypted. No, I think there's a picture for Micah here. Yes, so you can see that, for example, the user is connecting to the onion services that is inside the Tor network, no? So there's a node that has the directory of the onion services and route the traffic that way if you go to that onion services. So and everything is encrypted. So what people use onion services for, no? Facebook has an onion service that there was some articles from Facebook saying that around 1 million users use that service. So it's for people that are trying to connect from places where Facebook may be censored. There's other apps like Ricochet for chatting that also use onion services for each client. We have Onion Share, that is other project for sharing documents that also use onion services specifically for that. So the documents are not stored anywhere, temporal share that you send a link. And also we have Secure Drop. I'm not sure if people hear about Secure Drop before. Okay, it's this software that many newsrooms are installing it or have it around the world. Newsrooms or also other projects, no? Where you can send information or document anonymously to a specific place, no? The New York Times has one, ProPublica has one, The Guardian has one, no? And so you use Tor to be able to send your documents. So it could be used by whistleblowers, no? To send documents in an anonymous way, no? So I have an example here. This is Secure Drop trying to be accessed from Firefox. Yes, many Associated Press has. So they have like an onion service where you send. They set up the onion service for the newsroom, and then you using Tor, you can send information through their Tor browser, no? This is the New York Times onion service. It's also for for accessing from places that may be censored too. The other question I had, I may be too fast, but we can do questions at the end. The other question that people have usually, if it is enough for privacy, no? Who thinks that Tor is enough for privacy? Okay. Tor is what is trying to build, or what we are trying to build is a way for people to opt in, to not be able to pay the browsing the internet or using the internet with their own data, no? So a way for people to be able to access it, and then each person decides if they give information or not. So Tor is not enough for privacy. You can still be using Tor and be sending like your name, your address, whatever, you know. So it's just not the only thing you need for taking care of your information online. You can be leaking or sending identifiable information. You can do mistakes about security. You can be using applications that do not care about, that have other privacy or security implications and are leaking some information about you other way. So one thing we recommend is like using, not just only using Tor, but also using applications that are customized for privacy. So there was a boom like about different routers that like you connect there and you use Tor like for everything, all connections, no? And you can use Chrome and use Tor. But the problem with that is that there's like they may be leaking other information that you don't know about. When we customize Firefox into the Tor browser, we are like changing many things and not just the connection to the Tor network. So the recommendation is to really look at what you're using if you really want to be anonymous in the internet. No? And one recommendation for many journalists or human rights defenders or other people that may want to use Tor with other applications is to use Tails. No? With Tails, you have a Debian, a customized Debian in a stick, in a pen drive. You put in your computer, and then you can use all the applications there that are customized to use the Tor network and to not leak any privacy information. So what is coming? There's a lot of work. I mean, Tor has been around for a long time. In the last maybe 3 or 4 years, there has been a lot of improvement about usability. I'm not sure if many of you have been following not only how the network has been developing, but also how the browser or how other applications, they have come a long way. In the last 2 or 3 years, Tor has been involved user researchers, no? People that do usability. Now that we have a usability team that talks with users and see how people are using it in other places that are not just the first world, to try to see how to help more people. Because whenever we have more people in the network, it's better for everybody. Because more people connect to Tor, there's less red flags to look at, no? So there's a lot of work. What is coming is we are trying to do more research and more work around how to scale the Tor network. Many browsers are right now incorporating Tor. We have Brave that has like a Tor, use Tor, like you can use Tor with Brave. We are talking with Firefox about also for them to have like a real privacy connection. So this is very important for us in the next 2 years, how to make the network more diverse. We need more relays, more nodes. We need more people using it, but also more nodes in the network, no? Trying to make it more stable and more scalable. So network performance is like the big thing we are working right now in the next year. We also, I mean, censorship is right now like a race with many governments and corporations that are trying to censor how people use the internet around the world. So for that is also a big challenge and a big focus for the next year. Since this year, we have an anti-censorship team that is trying to focus on building tools for circumvention. Right now, I didn't talk about it until now. That's weird. Okay, I'm going to talk a little about how circumvention works at Tor, maybe in the next slides. And then also learn from users. I also said that. We are doing a lot of trainings and user research around the world on how people are using Tor. And we are also trying to improve Onion services, no? Because Onion service also have there's many problems related to how people remembering the hash with the, or there's a lot of problem with DOS of Onion services. So we are trying to work on that. So this is just, I say, scalability. So something I didn't talk, this is weird how I put the stuff together. I should have talked before that. Pluggable transports, no, how we are doing circumvention right now. So people connect to the network, but sometimes in many places, Tor is censored. So people cannot connect. There's like a big race with many governments that like trying to censor the entry points, the bridges into the network, trying to censor the traffic. There's many ways of how they are censor Tor right now. And what we have is like what we call pluggable transports. That what it does is change how the traffic looks. So hides between other traffic. For example, the two big ones that we are working right now is the obfuscation 4 and the snowflake. No, the change it can be look like the traffic just look like HTTP, HTTPS, or it can look like WebRTC. That's what the snowflake we are doing. So that's the big thing we are working in the anti-censorship team right now. Bridges, that's the other thing I should have talked before, and I didn't. That's the other big thing we're working, because not only people censor Tor doing deep package inspection, but also by IP. No, so you have like an entry point in the network, and then the sensors come and say these all the entry points we are blocking by IP. No, so what we have is what we call bridges. That people set up and then they don't show to any user, no? So you go to a website, it's called bridge.torproject.org, and you can get those entry points to the networks. And also many organizations can set up those entry points, those bridges, so it's hidden from the people that are censoring, no? So they are Tor relays that aren't listed in the main Tor directory. That's, so what is coming is trying to make that more smoothly on how people are receiving. People can receive bridges by the website, by email, by different ways of how they could be receiving those bridges, no? And we need to add new ones. That's that's the race we're running. There we are doing more trainings, more user research. We have like around 80 different languages translated. The Tor browser translated into 80 different languages. We need more translations, improve onion services, defenses to the denial of services. That's a big problem in the network, that sometimes it affects the network, and we are trying to work on that, on how it will not affect the network. Make the version 3 the default in core stable. Better errors on the client side, and the human memorable addresses for onion services. We're working on prototypes for that. How you can get involved? Yes, we need people to run Tor relays or bridges. That's a big thing right now that we need from people to run those entrants to the network, no? Find and fix bugs in Tor, test Tor in different platforms, in different places, help others understand how Tor works and what it means for privacy. And we also have different research problems, as I was telling before. You can take a look there. And then, of course, donations. That's the other thing. Maybe I will do questions. I think I went too fast. Sorry. Perfect. Yes. Okay.
All right, questions.
Is this on? Okay. Is there any risks involved in running a Tor relay or bridge? I've heard of like raids in the past where the police come knocking on your door because of someone else.
Yeah, I think it depends on your situation, on where you're having the relay, what you can run. No, usually like exit relays are more run in universities or other places that have the support to be able to run that relay. But if from your house, you can run like a middle relay or like
Hello. How do you incentivize the volunteer nodes?
Volunteer nodes, we send shirts.
Okay.
No, there's a yeah. We are trying to nurture that community. So there's like there's a place for there. Usually we have meetings, monthly meetings with relay operators. Yeah, that's mostly the way we are trying to nurture that community.
How do you protect against compromised nodes?
We need that's a very good question, and one thing we try to do is to have like a diverse network. That's the key for first we have we monitor the network, and there's like a way of monitoring for bad relays, and so we have a blacklist for bad relays. But the most important thing there to be able to defend compromised nodes is to have like a diverse, not one person owning or one organization owning the most of the relays, but having like diverse people running them, no? And we are trying to incentivize specific organizations to run bridges for their communities and stuff like that.
Thanks. The .onion addresses, I believe, are going to be a lot longer in the future, and still a bunch of random characters. Do you know how companies like the New York Times and Facebook, which currently use like vanity addresses, do you know if they're going to be switching over to those longer addresses? Will people have a choice between a...
Yes, they will be. I mean, people have choice in running one or the other, version 2 or version 3. That's the difference. But yes, we are trying to change everybody to version 3. That will be the default. And yes, organizations will be changing to that. We are looking for other ways of having some kind of memorable addresses, like using HTTPS everywhere. That's one possible option. To have some kind of local map of addresses that people can get into their own browser, and that's a way of. But yeah, we are working right now on different ways of how we can do this.
Hi. So I believe there actually is such a thing as a stupid question, and this might be one. Are there any embedded frameworks or libraries to connect embedded devices to Tor to build like an onion of things?
You heard it here first.
You know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know any about it. Maybe there is, and I have no idea because there's so many things I do not know. Yes.
I've run a Tor router. Sorry. I've run a middle relay out of my apartment for many years, and I used a BeagleBone Black for a while, and I also used a Minoboard Turbot. And I mean, they're single board computers that aren't really embedded, but yeah.
That kind of keys into my question. What are the basic technical requirements for running a relay or an entrance node?
Yeah, for that I can give you like the. There's a relay guide that you can look at, Tor relay guide. Let me see. What is the Tor relay guide? And that has all the information about how to the new guide turning here, Tor relay guide. Yeah, there's different ways. You can take a look there because I'm not so much involved here on how to. Yeah, there's a technical setup, and we have like a specific questions about what are the requirements here. Here. Yeah, we also have. I mean, if you're interested in this, we have like NIRC is where we are mostly. All the time, and you can ask a question there. Also, we have a mailing list, and that's the best place to get engaged on how to connect to how to get RLA running.
So it seems that to use the Tor network, you have to have a copy of the Tor software, right? So what sort of actions does the Tor organization take to be able to get the Tor browser and the Tor software to individuals in heavily censored areas and validate that those are secure versions of the software, not backdoored versions?
Yes, that's We have different ways of people to get Tor. We also have maintain a software called Get Tor for people to be able to send a mail and get the browser that way. And also we ran, I don't know much about this, but of course we do reproducible builds. Yeah, that's a way. And then people can try to get the browser in different ways from our organization. But that's an issue because there's many fake apps, for example. Yeah.
So kind of following up on the malicious node question, has any exploratory work been done into remote attestation? Is that like on the roadmap?
Can you repeat?
Remote attestation, like meaning a computer being able to verify remotely that a particular version of software is running, but doing so securely.
I do not know.
Okay,
we do not have that.
Okay, maybe we can chat later. I know that the Signal project is actually doing some work in that space.
Oh, okay.
So that like you can have I don't know what they call it, like the contact server, run on generic hardware such that you can verify that it's running what is available on the Git tree and not a modified version.
Let's talk later.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah. Is there a geographical preference for relays and bridges?
Yeah, we need bridges and relays everywhere. We don't have so many in the south, so that would be nice, in the global south. No? But yes, no.
What do you think of Unix?
Unix, yes, some people, work from Tor has been working with Unix, but we don't specifically support it. So, we work with Tails.
Can you talk a little bit more about your work with libraries and the outreach you're doing with them?
Is one specific team. What we're doing is trainings, going to specific libraries in the US and doing trainings about what is Tor, and also help libraries run relays. So those are the two specific things. It's called the Library Freedom Project. So you can, search it. And also, my colleague is also running different talks with journalists on how people are using Tor in the libraries and also online. There's a whole project there.
I have a question about that too. Do you have a sense of the institutional health of places like libraries or universities or governments, just from the kind of support or lack of support that you're getting, or censorship events or not that you're getting? Do you have a sense of which direction that's going, or?
In the US, I guess.
Anywhere.
Anywhere. No, we work very closely with universities. So we have researchers in different places that are specifically working on the projects with us. For example, we have a project on web traffic fingerprinting that we specifically work with researchers, and we implement what the researchers are finding out. So there's a lot of support there. Also for pluggable transport and anti-censorship, we also working with universities on that. So we all our works on research from universities, but from libraries, yes. Yes, I think there's also, at least my understanding of what this project has been going on, there has been a lot of support there too.
I have more questions. All right, there we go.
Do you have a sense for how much it costs us to encrypt everything and send it so many different directions to do the same task? Like, what are the scales of inefficiency that we're adding to the system by just putting everything under a private umbrella?
Can you repeat about encrypting all the information, or what?
Yeah, just like, so if you were to count how much energy it takes me to watch a YouTube video the way I normally watch it, and then to put it through the Tor network and do the same thing, how much more effort, how much more energy is being expended to do it this way?
Yeah, I think this is something that some people in Tor actually are bringing to discuss. Now we are meeting in July. We have twice a year Tor meetups, and one of the big conversations about this actually energy and how we are approaching it in the organization.
Is it considered impolite to use Tor for trivial high bandwidth stuff like watching videos?
We are trying to discourage people to use BitTorrent through Tor because yes, but in general we need people to use Tor, no, for trivial things. We need to think about privacy as something that we do it by default, no. The Tor is a system designed with privacy in mind as the default. So we should use it for more, and in that way we are helping people around the world to look at privacy infrastructure as something that should be there, you know, as how like we think about the internet, no? So yes, I think it should be used for.
I was looking at your metrics for the last few months. Yeah. It's really interesting. Like, can you talk more about? So there's the weekly periodicity of traffic or users, and it seems to spike during the weekday.
Yeah.
And then in this last month, it's like doubled.
Doubled, yes.
So what's going on?
Yeah, I feel interesting. It's very interesting to look at the metrics to see where, for example, there's censor stuff. Right now, we are looking, for example, at metrics from Iran. How many Tor users we have in Iran, no? It's amazing. It has been going up now in May. So we were trying to, here, yes, there, you know? And so we were trying to see what's going on in Iran. And it seems that like there's kind of a Telegram clone that is using Tor. That's one my thing. There's many different whys, no? And Telegram has been censored, so people are moving into this other app that use Tor. That could be one specific idea why.
So that accounts for the entire growth like above the baseline, just from Iran.
Just from Iran.
Okay.
Just from Iran, yes. And you can see, for example, in other places like Egypt, when it's censored, you can see there's more Tor users and there's spikes.
So this might also be a dumb question. From a sense of privacy and protecting individuals, why is this information available? Why do you publish this information of where the stuff is coming from?
Because we think it's important for people to know how Tor is being used, for researchers to know how Tor is being used, to be able to improve it. This is all information that comes. Actually, the relay, each node sends stats or data to Tor to be able to collect this, but it's optional. Not all of them do it. And also the information is sent anonymously. There's a lot of implications there. So, yes. 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 And we have a safety team that looks at all these things and how data and how the research is. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
I have a question. You might not be able to answer this, but I was in China recently and I was trying to use Tor from there, and I noticed that I could get it started and I could visit the New York Times homepage, and it would work for like 1 minute and then it would stop and I wouldn't be able to use it again for a day. Do you know what was happening there?
Maybe there was some issues with bridges. Maybe, I don't know, because that's one big issue we are having right now.
Yeah, I tried connecting with and without bridges. Oh, really?
The traffic analysis, yeah. Yeah, or it blocks the bridge, for example. Yeah. So it's like we said, it's like a race, no? You go try to use this bridge, they block it, or try to use this pluggable transport, and they block it.
Does Tor get involved in promoting or developing its own hardware?
So far, no.
No, we should talk then.
Yeah. There's, yeah.
So how is Tor and Onion supported financially?
We have, financially we work by grants. That's a big effort also that has been happening in the last year, and we are trying to push forward for a diversity on where we are getting funding from. Before there was a lot more funding from the US government, and now we are trying to diversify that and get for Onions specifically, we are getting funding from a foundation, specifically for that work, and then we get donations, and that also fund that part of the work, yes.
So my question's about the use of Tor and for trivial traffic. Mm-hmm. So if I use it to purchase something online, I'm obviously going to give up my personal information to that website, and so I guess it's going to go through that exit node. Should I then start a new session through Tor?
If you use it for something else, you start like a new circuit, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? We're just about out of time.
Do you know if there are future plans to have a Tor cryptocurrency that could be mined by basically becoming relay and routing Tor traffic?
You're talking what? Can you repeat the question in the beginning? Because
Yeah, is there going to be like a Tor cryptocurrency that could be mined?
I thought I hear wrong.
Okay.
No, we don't have any plan on that for sure. Yeah, for now. If you have any thoughts about that, it would be great to talk with you. But right now, we don't have anything related to that. We accept cryptocurrencies. That's the only thing we do about cryptocurrencies right now.
I just keep coming back to a comment that was made earlier. Right now, the proverbial Eye of Sauron that exists in Washington, D.C. is aimed right at this graph that you have on the screen. And it seems like that's a big risk. Like you're drawing a huge amount of attention to the project just because there's a lot of attention on Iran right now. Do you guys talk about that? Can you expand on that a little bit? Like how you mitigate that? I mean, having the full force of the Department of Defense angry at Tor for enabling communication in Iran seems like it could be a big risk for your organization.
I mean, there may be many people angry at us for one reason or the other. So focusing on enable this. We are not focused on that for sure. There's a big risk on using any of this technology at some point, but we are not focused on how we are going to talk with the government about this. And yes.
I just wanted to say thank you. Like what you do is very important, and I'm very happy that Tor exists.
Thank you.